Hey guys, welcome back to Astronaut. In this tutorial we are going to be creating two different cameras in Unreal Engine 5, specifically Unreal Engine 5.1, as I have not downloaded Unreal Engine 5.2 yet. I am downloading it at the moment, but for now we're gonna have to work with Unreal Engine 5.1. Nothing is going to be different, everything is gonna be fine, so do not worry. Okay, so before we start, as you may have seen, I updated Windows 11, so that's good. Alright, now let's open up Unreal Engine, and yeah, let me elaborate on what we're gonna be doing. Basically, in one of our previous tutorials, I created a camera that was behind the player floating and that's basically every single camera that you're gonna find in a third-person game. Now, what if you want to have that camera, but also a first-person camera as well, and be able to switch between those two? That's what we're going to be going over today, so without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, this is the game map. So yeah, you can see that we have our third-person camera right here, and it's working well. I have created the code for that, but I am not going to be creating it again for this tutorial. I am going to simply show you what I have done so that we can save time, and if you want to see in detail, I will leave the previous tutorial in the description down below. Although it is quite long, I will probably post the time as well. Let me show you really quick what we have done. First of all, let's go to edit, project settings, and then let's go down here to input. Input, rotate left right and rotate up down are the controls under the axis mappings that are relevant to the camera. So you can see that we get mouse X. The way to get that is search for mouse X right here, and then set the value scale to 1. Then close that, rotate up down, mouse Y search it from here, and then set the scale to -1. Control space to bring up our asset browser, content browser, whatever content browser I believe is what it's called in Unreal Engine, and go into blueprints, then astronaut blueprint, and then let's go track it down. Okay, that's the mouse commands. Mouse commands, input axis, rotate left right, that's the mouse X that we got, so get off of that controller your input, that's it, and then the axis value goes into the val, which stands for value. Similarly, just from up down, so the way to do that is you get input axis up down, or whatever you've named it, and same thing for right left. And then instead of getting the controller yaw input, just add controller pitch input. We are not going to be needing the roll input, as that is the rotation that is in the x-axis. The rotation that as that would rotate our camera as if it was in a washing machine.
Yo man, check this out, I be spinning, man.
Okay, just put those axis value into val and you're done with that. That is for our first camera. So also the way to get this camera is get camera
Facts.
Then first you're gonna go here and add the spring arm. That's spring arm.
Facts.
And then add new spring arm under in astronaut astro character, whatever you've named that, and then set some kind of value for that. The value for the arm length is this, and the socket offset is what I have set that to be. Well, you can see what it does. Okay, and the camera, basically just get a new camera.
Shit.
and then add it into the spring arm. So basically you drag the spring arm into the Astro character and then the camera likewise into the spring arm. Field of view for the camera is 90 and leave all other values as default, except the fact that you click on the camera and then you go to details here, search, and then say activate. You have to click auto activate, okay, because if you want that to be your default camera, so the camera that loads first, so when the player loads the game and then the first camera is gonna be that if you click auto activate. Now similarly, let's get another camera and add camera, camera, and then we're gonna set that camera to be into the Astro character. Let's name that POV Camera. POV stands for point of view, and then let's leave the location Z equals 0, and then let's change a little bit. Let's make it, actually let me get 0 for all axes and get a parent socket which is going to be our head bone. So okay, I'm gonna fix that, but first let me tell you what I did right here. So the parent socket is basically a bone from our character's skeleton, which you can find right here, and basically whatever this bone does, the camera will do as well. So, or whatever we have attached to the bone socket. So if we scale up the bone for some reason, the mesh that is attached to the socket, the bone, is gonna scale up as well. If you move it, it's gonna move as well. If you rotate it, it's gonna be rotated as well. And that's what we want. We want our camera, our POV camera, to rotate along with the head, which is a bone right here. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, you can see that this is freaking massive. I found that the values that are correct for me, so that the camera is normal again, are rotation x-axis -90 and scale, remember to lock it, and then scale 0.01, because the scale, you could see that the camera was massive, but if you do not rotate, the camera is gonna be like this, and this is on the side. So basically here you can see that if we search for auto activate, we can tick that off because we do not want this one to be our default camera. And if we have both cameras on auto activate, there is gonna be some confusion in the game. So auto activate for the third person camera, as well as known as camera, and the POV camera is not going to be auto activated. Now let me drag that. No, actually let me leave it as it is. Okay, so now how do we switch? You have to go into the blueprint, into the event graph, and then, well, basically let's create project settings, and under project settings a new input, and that's gonna be an action mapping. Let's call this one, I clicked plus in case you did not see it. Let's call this one switch camera. Okay, now which key do we want it to be? I'm gonna set it to O for some reason, but you can set it to whatever you want it to be. Okay, so now let's go here, find the blank space, switch camera. Okay, so right click to search switch camera or whatever you've named it, and off of pressed, let's get the cameras right here, so camera and POV camera. Alright, get a branch actually here. So let's get off of camera is active. Okay, is active, and if this statement is true, set active. Alright, so set active target camera, and then off of true, and then new active. No, it's not new active. So we're not setting it to be active, we're setting it to be inactive. And let's Control C, Control V. So POV camera target, yes, okay. Now set new active. So what we basically did here is off of true, we got the set active for the third person camera, and then we set it not to be active, and then we set the POV camera to be active. Off of false, we are going to select those and Control C, Control V to paste, or Control D to simply duplicate. Now we are going to plug those in. Set new active POV camera false, and set new active third person camera true. So hopefully you understand what we did right here. In case you don't, I am going to explain. If the third person camera is active, we are setting it to be inactive, and then we are setting the POV camera to be the new active camera. If the third person camera is not active, we are setting the POV camera to be inactive, and the third person camera, let's see if this works. So C to comment and switch camera. We start off of the third person camera, and then if we hit O, we have the first person camera, aka the POV camera. That's great, that's great. And you can see this already looks like first person game. Now all that is great, but there is one problem with each camera. And for the third person camera, the problem is that in the previous tutorial I realized that I forgot to tell you guys and show you how to make the spring arm, so what controls the camera to rotate up and down. So basically the pitch control suck, they do not work with the spring arm. So I'm gonna do that right now. The second thing though is that the first person camera does not do that either. So I'm gonna fix that as well. Let's start with the spring arm. What you need to do with the spring arm is mouse Y and search for mouse Y, and be sure to get the mouse Y off of events and not the mouse values. So mouse Y and then add relative rotation, and then select the spring arm. Be sure to search for add relative rotation and not set relative rotation. Okay, let me move those down here. Now right click of delta rotation and then split struct pin. Select the axis value and drag that into pitch. And now we should have a fully functional spring arm. And you can see that's great. That is actually great. We can move the spring arm wherever we want. Problem is that this does not also apply for the first person camera, and that's the second thing that I told you we had to fix. For this, just get off of POV camera after we are setting it to be the active camera, and then set use pawn control rotation. Plug that into that. Also remember to tick that, yeah, we want this to be true. Now let's go and check it out. Okay, you can see first thing works very well. Second thing also works, and we can see the inside of our body. I'm just going to move the camera a little bit to the front so that we cannot see all this stuff. But you can see that it works perfect. And a little bit more up. Yeah, right here. Let's see. Cool, awesome. That's great, that's great. We're looking down to our body and you can play with a more cinematic look to it. And this is for people who want to just check out their character. That has been it for today's tutorial, and make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone else who may want to know about. I hope to see you in future videos, and keep programming.
That's the stuff. I should watch more videos.